The night was electric, lights flickering in the backyard, music thumping through the speakers, laughter spilling over the fence, and the aroma of sizzling barbecue filling the air. Guests mingled, drinks clinked, and for a moment everything felt perfect. That's when HOA Karen made her move, storming toward the property with her phone in hand, ready to call the cops on a party that had already drawn the attention of local law enforcement. Little did she know, the officers were already mingling discreetly, observing every detail, and ready for what came next, turning her attempt to control the neighborhood into a shocking spectacle she would never forget. Before we dive into this unbelievable HOA showdown, hit that subscribe button and smash the like so you never miss the wildest property drama. And stay tuned because this story is about to get chaotic in ways you won't believe. The evening started like any other weekend celebration, with neighbors arriving, music vibrating through the quiet suburban streets, and laughter echoing from yard to yard. Drinks flowed, the barbecue grill roared with flames, and the smell of sizzling meat carried across the neighborhood. The backyard was transformed into a festival of lights and colors, with people dancing under strings of fairy lights, glasses raised, and cameras flashing. Little did anyone know, one pair of eyes in particular belonging to the notorious HOA Karen was watching from across the street. She had made it her personal mission to enforce order, to ensure that every lawn was perfect, every trash can tucked away, and every party within her line of sight curtailed before it even began. Tonight, she had spotted what she considered chaos in motion and was determined to act. Pulling out her phone with an expression of righteous fury, she dialed the local police, her words clipped and urgent, describing the out-of-control gathering as if the party were an imminent threat to the entire city. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to her, a couple of police officers had already been called earlier that day about noise complaints from another source and had parked their car a block away. They had decided to observe first, blending in with the crowd, and were now quietly noting the layout of the yard, the number of attendees, and the overall atmosphere. Karen's eyes narrowed as she moved closer, phone pressed tightly to her ear, ready to escalate the situation. Her determination to assert dominance over the neighborhood collided with the calm, watchful presence of law enforcement already on site, and the tension was palpable. The first chapter of this suburban battle closed as Karen prepared to confront what she thought was a lawless gathering, completely unaware that the law was already present, silently ready to witness the unfolding spectacle and intervene if necessary. As the night deepened, music pulsed louder, and guests became more animated. The energy in the backyard was almost contagious. Laughter and cheer filled the air, contrasting starkly with the rigid presence of HOA Karen, whose every step toward the property radiated authority and judgment. She approached the edge of the gathering, phone still in hand, ready to make her call, while the disguised officers watched with keen interest. They saw her, her stance rigid and confrontational as she prepared to speak, but instead of reacting immediately, they allowed the moment to build understanding that the tension between a self-appointed neighborhood enforcer and a carefree gathering could create a situation both entertaining and instructive. Karen finally spoke, her voice raised just enough to catch the attention of the nearest guests, and confusion spread through the crowd as they turned to see who dared challenge the joyous atmosphere. The officers, still observing from the periphery, remained silent, knowing that intervention at the wrong moment could escalate things unnecessarily. The party-goers, sensing confrontation, paused briefly, unsure whether to confront Karen directly or continue enjoying the night. This pause, this subtle shift in the social energy, created an almost cinematic tension. Karen, sensing victory before it had been earned, marched further into the property, only to be met with polite, but firm acknowledgement from the attendees who, with a knowing glance, pointed out the presence of the law already nearby. The realization hit her slowly and painfully. The cops she had hurriedly called were already there, integrated into the crowd, watching silently, and her attempt to assert control was about to backfire spectacularly. As the second chapter closed, Karen's confidence wavered, the crowd's curiosity grew, and the night's narrative shifted into a battle of wit, authority, and the unpredictable laws of social power. The confrontation escalated as Karen tried to regain control, demanding attention and respect, while the party guests, emboldened by the unseen but present officers, continued their festivities with subtle defiance. The officers, now clearly identifiable, stepped into the scene, not to penalize but to ensure safety and observe Karen's increasingly erratic behavior. Her attempts to lecture the attendees were met with polite smiles, nods, and gentle humor, exposing the absurdity of her approach in stark relief. The music played on, laughter echoed, and every gesture of Karen's overreach seemed to amplify the unity and cheerfulness of the crowd rather than intimidate them. The officers, maintaining professionalism, subtly guided her away from direct interference, leaving her frustration visible but powerless. It became a lesson in patience, observation, and the thin line between authority and absurdity, as Karen's attempts to escalate were quietly deflected by law enforcement presence and the resilience of a community enjoying its night. The party, now fully aware of the surreal circumstances, celebrated quietly but with a heightened sense of camaraderie, sharing glances and subtle acknowledgments of the bizarre scenario unfolding around them. Karen, finally grasping that her power was limited in the face of subtle law enforcement and communal joy, retreated step by step, her once towering presence diminished by the irony of her situation. As the third chapter ended, the night had transformed from potential chaos into a living lesson of humility, authority, and the unpredictable dynamics of suburban life, leaving everyone, especially Karen, with a story to remember. By the early morning, the party had wound down, leaving behind a trail of confetti, empty glasses, and memories that would last a lifetime. HOA Karen, exhausted and embarrassed, retreated to her home, phone still clutched tightly in her hand, replaying every detail of the night and realizing the limits of control in a world where law, community, and joy intersected unexpectedly. The officers, having quietly ensured that no real disruption had occurred, left as unobtrusively as they had arrived, their presence a silent reminder of order without spectacle. Guests began to depart, sharing laughter, retelling moments, and acknowledging the absurdity and thrill of the night. They knew they had witnessed something extraordinary, a clash of personalities, authority, and neighborhood culture that would be retold at gatherings for years. Karen's attempt to dominate the night had transformed into a spectacle of humility, learning, and unexpected entertainment, providing a story that resonated far beyond the confines of a single backyard. The memory of the night became a testament to resilience, joy, and the ironic twists of suburban life where even the most controlling figures could be humbled by circumstance. As the sun rose, casting a warm glow on the remnants of the party, everyone who remained could reflect on the night's events with a sense of satisfaction, amusement, and a renewed understanding of the delicate balance between authority and freedom. If you enjoyed witnessing this wild HOA showdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss the craziest neighborhood drama and the most jaw-dropping property stories online.